You ever watch the sun glint off steel and know deep down somebody's going to be pissed about it? That's how it started for me, standing at the edge of my land, grinning at a bridge I built with my own hands, while a headache called the HOA was brewing about half a mile west, just out of sight, but never out of mind. You want a story with a hook? How about this? I built something solid, honest, and legal on my land, and the next thing I know, a bunch of people I never met tried to ruin my life, all because my bridge messed with their visual harmony. Yeah, that happened. Let me back up a sec, because this isn't just about steel and concrete. My name's Cody Wells, third generation on this Oregon soil. My granddad's old wooden bridge had long since collapsed into the river, and every rainy season a third of our 22 acres turned into an island. So I did what anybody would do: poured footings, ran trusses, sweated through weeks of honest work. This bridge wasn't for show, it was for family. I wanted to build a place for my sister and her kids on the backstretch, reconnect what the river tried to take. When I finished, I installed a plaque that said, "Built by Wells, paid in full." Corny, maybe. But after a decade in the Army, I wanted something real: roots, dirt under my nails, a reason to stay put. I followed every rule. County permits, soil tests. Fish and wildlife inspection, even got blessed by a guy who looked like he lived in his truck. When I drove my pickup across that bridge the first time, felt like I'd crossed over too, That sense that the hard part's finally over until life reminds you it's got a sense of humor. 2 weeks after, I get a letter in the mail. Looks all official, thick envelope, HOA logo, the works. I figure it's junk, maybe an ad for landscaping. But no, it's a demand $25,000 for what they called an unauthorized infrastructure project that, get this, disturbed the view and the natural line of sight for Birch Meadow Estates. I had to laugh. Their houses aren't even close enough to see my bridge unless you've got binoculars and a hell of an imagination. Then they accused me of messing up creek habitat, like their backyards even touch my creek. The real kicker: they said I violated some eco-boundary zone their board invented out of thin air. The ink on their so-called map wasn't even dry. Signature at the bottom, Karen Klemp, HOA president. Now, maybe you don't know Karen, but around here, her legend's bigger than her hair. The type to fine a neighbor for garden gnomes and campaign to ban wind chimes. If there's a rule she can't enforce, she'll just make up a new one. I wasn't part of her kingdom. My property's been deeded separate since Eisenhower. Never paid a dime to Birch Meadows HOA and never planned to. But Karen doesn't let go easy. The letter threatened legal action if I didn't pay. So I did what any stubborn ex-soldier would do: checked every plat map, every permit, made sure I hadn't slipped up. I was in the clear. My land's my land, period. Their only problem was a steel bridge interrupting yoga hour on Karen's deck. I sent her a letter. Maps, permits, highlighted legal code, the works. Told her straight up, I am not and never will be your member. Cease contact or I treat it as fraud. Felt pretty good dropping that in the mailbox until 3 days later another packet arrived, this one even thicker. Now it's some amended watershed protection addendum claiming they'd extended their jurisdiction to all land within 200 feet of the creek mine, included retroactive by 6 months. I checked the signatures. 2 belonged to people who died or moved away before the date on the document. You catch my drift? They forged the damn thing. That's when my patience ran out. Lucky for me, I know a guy, Ree Huntington, property rights attorney, ex-military, the type who eats paperwork for breakfast. I laid it all out for him. Bridge threats, the ghost bylaw, everything. He's flipping through slow and steady, says, this isn't just HOA overreach, this is deliberate fraud. I asked if Karen was in real trouble. If we can prove it, she will be. He drafts a letter lawyer to lawyer, making it crystal clear all future contact goes through him, and they're flirting with civil extortion. Then I do something a little petty. I mail copies of the whole mess to the county, the local press, the DA, just to keep things spicy. Next morning, I find a note under my gate. You're escalating this unnecessarily. Be reasonable. No signature, but it smelled like lavender and guilt. I burned it in the fire barrel out back. Now this is where things turn. The morning after, I'm riding my ATV across the bridge, coffee wedged between my knees when the back wheels slip like I hit black ice. Coffee everywhere, almost dumped into the creek. I look down, rainbow sheen. Someone poured motor oil across the bridge thick as a truck bed right where you drive. No accident. That's sabotage. I cleaned it up myself, sawdust soap, cold water. Hands raw, nerves rawer. Next day, more fun nails scattered across my gravel drive, sharp side up, waiting for my tires. Not dropped, but planted. That was it. I bought trail cams, the real deal night vision, and all set 'em up by the bridge, the gate, the shed. Sat in the dark, waiting. Took 3 nights, but sure enough, the footage pings my phone. 2 figures, one taking pictures on the bridge, one holding a clipboard acting like they're on some secret mission. Next day, I go see Chad Buckton, neighbor across the creek, the local rumor mill with boots. Showed him the pic, he laughs. That's Trent, lives 3 doors down from Karen. She's telling everyone you're building a commercial shipping route or something, says to document all suspicious activity. You ever want to laugh and scream at the same time? A few days later, real trouble shows up, official lawsuit. Birch Meadow Estates HOA versus Cody Wells. Environmental harm, visual contamination, diminishing community value. They demand I tear the bridge down after I spent over 38 grand and months of sweat. They want it gone because it ruins Karen's view. Back to Ree's office, slap the lawsuit down, tell him they want it gone over my dead body. He reads it, then says the magic words, we countersue. Fraud, harassment, interference, civil extortion. And Cody, he says save everything, footage, notes, all of it. He's not playing around. I never pictured myself here, knees in wet grass, next to Dr. Tracy Miller, a retired hydrologist with a flannel shirt and zero time for BS, poking my creek bank with gadgets. She spends hours sampling, testing, measuring, barely a word. When she finally speaks, it's to say, my bridge reduced erosion, helped fish migrate, made the creek better than it was. Her report said net environmental benefit. Ree grinned. Karen was going to hate that. Next HOA notice, twice as dramatic if you can believe it. Now my bridge is apparently threatening a man-made retention pond half a mile away with critical groundwater pathways. Ree brings in surveyor's maps, the works. No connection ridge in the way, not even close. We submit all this to the court along with Dr. Miller's report. Then the twist hits. Frank Birch, old neighbor, shows up with a folder of secret HOA meeting minutes, the good stuff. He points out Karen's line, if we can justify environmental oversight, we can force inclusion and regain control of the corridor. Turns out she tried to buy my granddad's land years ago, and when he refused, she's been after us ever since. This isn't about a bridge, it's about control. The day before the hearing, I get a county notice permit review suspended pending anonymous complaint. I laugh out loud. They're desperate, using back channels. I track down Inspector Leary, the guy who signed off on my bridge. He takes one look at the letter and says, "You're not under suspension. This is from regional, not local. Someone's pushing it through." Off the record, he tells me Karen's name keeps coming up. Now here's the wild card. Ed, a neighbor who bartends at a fancy place in town, texts me. Turns out he overheard Karen offering contributions to a county deputy, sliding a folder across the table, trying to grease the wheels. Ed writes a statement. Inspector Leary confirms he was offered a bribe to reopen my case, and he's reporting it to ethics. Ree adds all this to our case, and God bless him, leaks the story to the local paper. Headline reads, HOA president accused of leveraging county office in property dispute. They called me a third-generation landowner and called Karen a bored tyrant with a view problem. My phone blows up. Neighbors start calling people I barely know, all with their own Karen horror stories. Finally, court day. The hearing room's packed, not just HOA diehards, but folks like Frank, Ed, and Loretta, the quiet resistance. Karen's there stiff as a statue in pearls, and a pantsuit looking like she's about to host the world's angriest bake sale. HOA's lawyer starts talking about unilateral development and communal values. Ree gets up and methodically burns their arguments to ash, property lines, permits, environmental reports, the works. Dr. Miller testifies, says my bridge fixed erosion and helped wildlife. Ed testifies about Karen's backroom deal. Inspector Leary's affidavit gets played. You hear the bribery right there. Frank reads from those secret HOA notes about Karen's plan to annex my land. Ree sums it up. This isn't about ecology, it's about a personal vendetta. Karen tries to recover, talking about stewardship and community, but the judge shuts her down. Ma'am, he is not part of your community by law or geography. End of story. Judge throws out every HOA claim, rules the eco-boundary is fake calls, their actions harassment, and then get this, slaps Birch Meadow with $100,000 in damages, legal fees, and orders, an audit of their whole operation. Karen gets referred for a criminal inquiry. I don't look back as Karen storms out. The place erupts, neighbors clapping, Loretta fist-pumping, Frank nodding like a man vindicated. Outside air's fresher than it's been in years. A month later, my bridge stands strong with a new plaque, built with love, protected by court order, not for HOA use. $100,000 bridge with a view of your defeat. Word is, Karen resigned for self-care. Her name vanished from HOA emails. The neighborhood shifted. Less fear, more gardens. Rules relaxed. Even a swing set showed up, not architecturally neutral, but nobody cared. My sister's house is breaking ground, out back, permits. Finally clear. So let me ask you, who's the real steward here? The guy who built a bridge for family, or the ones who tried to tear it down for the sake of power? Tell me in the comments, ever been bullied by an HOA or someone who thought their rules ran deeper than the river? Let's hear your stories. Because if you ask me, the only thing more satisfying than winning is knowing you stood your ground and changed the game for everyone after you.